Yeah, I think yeah, you just got to literally just turn it off and then just not think about it pretty much. I think that medium traction can still be. I think at some tracks it can actually be faster, but I think if you get used to no assist, it just feels more satisfying as well. I think do that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like if you get used to also driving without the 3D line. I have it only in corners now, but I think you'll be faster as well, because I feel sometimes the track tells you, or the line tells you, to brake earlier than if you master it. You know your braking point and you will be faster. But
yeah, I used to use racing line for like a year when I first started, and sometimes it's a good safety net to have. Like if you're really unsure, especially I think it's more useful if you're like overtaking someone, then you know exactly where to brake. But most of the time, it's not really the most optimal line to do. So if you do it without it, then you could you'd probably be faster. But
But that's good why you have videos online, my friend. So I can look your racing line. Help me a few times, to be fair.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yo, JD here, Tiro Limitless, and as you can see, back on F1 2019, as always.
Oh no, I forgot to load shut up.
Oh no.
And you can see by that intro, we have a couple of guests with us. We have got Jana Opmir, and I'm going to completely butcher this name because I'm absolutely horrendous at pronouncing the game. We've got Thibaut Quarta, which is the Real Madrid goalkeeper, and honestly I want to say thank you to him for joining us. Been speaking to him for quite a while actually, and he is just such a cool, down-to-earth guy, and he's got a huge passion for F1 and sim racing and stuff as well. So to be in a team with him was just absolutely insane. It's just can't describe how cool this guy actually is. But coming into this now, the Not Oz GP, and we were running default setups with no ERS. Well, everyone's meant to be running no ERS, but automatic ERS at the request of Lando and Norris. And you can see by the grid we had coming in, and unless you were living under a rock, we've got a lot of very quick drivers and some real life drivers, the likes of Lando Norris, Stoffel Van Dorn, Esteban Gutierrez, Louis Delatraz, and some big YouTubers and some very good F1 esport drivers as well. So a crazy grid, this one, and this was live streamed. My first time I did it on PC. Honestly, coming into this, and you don't have to believe me, I was really going into this with no preparation. I think I did a session before this and that was it. I really wasn't coming into this taking it seriously whatsoever, but apparently 99% of the grid were taking it quite seriously, and we're running regular rules here, which is why there was no corner cut in the second part. But we are actually keeping it pretty clean, because it's quite weird when you're so used to running strict rules, you end up driving quite clean most of the time. I'm not used to doing team at Mardet lines where you're just cutting all day, every day. So no, this is with default setup, and this lap I was actually very happy with. I was really surprised getting on the DRS nice and early, going across the line. What time is this going to be? It's a 19.5.
I beat James, world's fastest gamer, in the bin.
As we beat James Baldwin somehow, but Tom 97 out-qualified me. So, GG to him. He did a really impressive lap there, and quite quick times actually with a default setup. But I really didn't feel ready for this or anything at all, because as I said, I was really going into this very relaxed. I was not in a competitive mindset or anything at all. I was just here just to have fun. But of course, as it lingers on, you start wanting to impress. I think the seriousness started to creep up as more as the race went on. But we've got 5 lights here from 6th place on the grid. Tom 97 ahead, who, as I said before, did a really fantastic qualifying lap. He darts across to the inside. We've got the world's fastest gamer going around the outside, squeezed into a sandwich. Someone has got off. I think that is Simon Veergang gone off from pole position here. And now we've got Stoffel Van Dorn. And we're just going to be banging wheels slightly going into turn 3 here. And he just completely blows up Tom 97, but then spins him back round again. But that has gained me a place. But I've lost a place to the F2 driver of Louis Delatraz. So a pretty interesting first couple of corners, but we've got the world's fastest gamer James Baldwin ahead of me now. So, well, not ahead of me, we've got ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn couple positions ahead. So I really want to try and not let the leaders get away. As I said, a lot of people were practicing for this. We think about going down the inside, but that doesn't scare them offline. But yeah, I was starting to realise, you know what, I actually want to do a good race here. Take it a bit more seriously. So I was quite eager to get past these two as quick as possible. Stoffel Vandoorne, of course, being a Formula E Mercedes driver, as he has completely lost it. And luckily we haven't lost any positions. So that is me into P6, back into my original starting position. Azu Jeddah tries to go slightly wide, so we've got figured back go down the inside, but there's a slight bit of lag here. And we've got Tom 97 ahead. So the front four are getting away slightly. So I was really wanted to get past now because I feel good around this track. Australia is no secret, is a really good track for me. So that's why I wasn't too hot on practicing too much for this one. But nonetheless, quite a big audience here and quite an interesting race, so I definitely wanted to do well and getting a good run off here with the auto ERS. We cannot control it at all. Going down the inside, do my signature kind of move I've been doing recently where I kind of fool someone, I'm going to one side but then just switch to the other, and that is me into 5th place now, and we'll be able to see what the gap is to Mr. James Baldwin ahead, and I think the gap is going to be 2.9 seconds now. And no, I think maybe if you put it in rich. Yeah, I think we're just discussing about the auto ERS here because it seems to be completely random for everyone. So please, if someone in the comments, maybe if you go rich, it puts you down to lower because you're already in more power, or the complete opposite, if you're on lean, you actually use more ERS because it feels you need more power. But it was very, very different for everyone. You can see by the lines here, we could be cutting out a lot more because it is on a regular rule set here. But moving on to the middle of lap 6, the gap has actually stayed the same, or he did pull away about 3.1 seconds, and now we've actually started to close back in again. So our pace is actually pretty good at this point, and I thought, you know what, maybe potentially get an undercut on him in the next lap or so. So I was starting to close in ever so slowly, and we'll be able to see the split time again. It's about 2.6 seconds back because you can see it would take a bit more liberties with the corners, but we've actually lost it coming out of chicane, and that is just Tiro Limited. As always, there would not be a race where something does not happen. Seems to be every race I do, somehow there is always some drama where I just bottle it, or not one race I think on this game has been perfect for me. But luckily, damage is turned off, and that has just completely blown up my tyres now. So I'm going to go in on lap 7, and cherry on the cake, we get a 5-second penalty by just going 1 mile an hour too quick. And that's what I was talking about before. Felt really relaxed before this, but then the competitiveness sets in, and then you start to do things like that. And yeah, but I really wanted to try and make up for it. Luckily, it's not a 5-second stop and go, but that means we're going to have to finish 5 seconds ahead of potentially other people on regular rules. That is a pretty big ask for. But moving on now to the next lap, Tom 97 has come out ahead because I think he did overtake me, didn't he, because of that mistake. So he's come out ahead of Super GT, a long-time friend of mine, known him for many, many years. And again, if you're not subscribed to him, then you must be living under a rock or something. Does the best Gran Turismo content, in my opinion, and Forza. But we're going coming up to the back of him because I don't think he is pitted yet. And we've got Jimmy Broadband quite a way behind as well. I don't think he's pitted yet either, because this is really not their signature games. But trying to get past him as quick as possible. But I think Tim at Mardox, who was behind me after I did that spin, he's actually going long on soft tyres to try and do a soft to medium strategy, which is perfectly viable. But the mediums do run out pretty quickly at the end. And going through this once again, DRS, it should be a pretty comfortable move. And now we've got Esteban Gutierrez and the Mercedes driver ahead of me. Let's see if I could try and get the switchback coming out through here, man. No, it's definitely not going to happen going to this corner now. Let's see if I can get a good exit here, but there's no point because there's going to be a DRS zone coming up pretty quickly here. So trying to get a good line coming off this corner. We'll get some good traction because he's going to be on those quite old soft tyres now. He goes to the inside, but he'll go around the outside, and it should be a pretty easy move going into turn 1. And now I have my teammate
I don't know if he's trying to go for mediums.
out ahead of me, and I can confirm that he hasn't pitted yet
I'm behind you
either now. And yeah, just by that little message there, just giving a little subtle hint to maybe make it a little bit easy for me to get past. But a couple of people are still out there. I think Ben is still out there on the medium tyres and stuff as well. And Lando Norris is actually in P3 at this stage in the race as well. So you can see just how much more grip we have got than my teammate on these tyres as well. And not mentioning a name because, as I said, I probably will be just completely pronouncing it wrong. But trying to get a good exit off here. We've got a very, very nice exit. EOS has actually luckily gone up a little bit. He decides to let me back past.
Thank you very much.
And yes. And he knows the deal. It is team orders in this team. But we're going to move on to the end of lap 12 now. Lando Norris, you can see there, he's actually pitted now, and he is going to go on, I think, a hard set of tyres, because I'm not sure he knew which tyres really to go on. You can see the gap is about 4.7 seconds, and coming off here, we're taking a little bit more risk with the corner cut. You can see how much you can get away with, and I really didn't realise that because I never play on regular rules. But coming on here, we go on the curb, and
oh my fucking god!
Again,
keep crashing.
Another spin, and
you spinning?
Yeah. Keep spinning.
As I just said then, it was just purely just getting on the curb,
So much understeer.
too much traction, and that is it. The game can be extremely unforgiving, but we are still somehow in a P6 after 2 spins. We are still in P6, and if we had damage, I think we would have been out of this race a long time ago. But we are still going to persist, still going to continue, and you can hear by that breathing there, that is just Jarno just absolutely sweating in this race here. But moving on towards the end of lap 25, I think after that spin, I wasn't really driving too good. I was driving quite inconsistent actually. I think tyre temps went up a little bit and it wasn't too good. But Tom, no, he's having actually blistering pace at this point in the race, and you can see again, just hitting that
again,
just that curb and just losing it again. And yeah, I think it's just a case of maybe just overdriving it, just driving it too hard. But this has given me plenty of motivation for the next race that is happening this weekend, and I will be live streaming that. So make sure you tune in for that one now. But if you didn't hear what I just said then, because of all this going on, you thought, you know what, the seriousness should really stop now. Let's let Lando Norris pass, and we have to unfortunately let past Ben as well. That was not my plan, but we have to let him pass because he is so close behind. Let's try and have a nice little battle with them, and at least have some little bit of enjoyment towards the end of this race. So we've got AR12 Gaming out ahead of us, who is currently being lapped. But moving on to lap 27. No, my tyres, I think, just because of a spin, are just starting to just overheat and stuff as well. With the default setup, was really struggling to get some traction here. But moving into the penultimate lap now, let's see if I can get close enough going through this end of sector 1 and going through here again, getting some pretty reasonable traction. But I am fairly low on the ERS, although you can't see it because there's a notification there which just stayed there the whole race. I'm quite low in the ERS. I don't know if it's depending on your fuel strategy or something at all. Maybe if you're rich, it puts it in lower because, as I said, it will probably think you don't need as much power or something like that. But you know, maybe if you're putting a lean like I am through the corners, it actually expends more energy, which is what I meant to say. But we've only got 1 lap to go to get past Team McMahon. I really wanted to battle with Lando Norris, but we have this roadblock in the way, this Australian roadblock in the way at Melbourne, and we want to dispatch of him as much as possible. And I can tell from, well, re-watching Lando's stream, I can tell he's very happy about it. And again,
no grip,
just losing the car, just with dirty air. I don't even know what it is. You can see the tyres are getting pretty worn now because the end of lap 7 is actually fairly early for the hard tyres. But yeah, Lando Norris was pretty happy that he was in 6th position at this point. I don't know if you thought I broke down or something like that, but now I knew it was probably going to be pretty difficult to get him. So we just got to try and get past Mr. Team at Marduk going on to this last lap. And we're just going to try and put some pressure on him because his mediums should be screaming as well. They should not be in a happy condition. So let's see if we could get a good exit off here, which we do. We get a very, very nice exit. But you can just see he's got so much more ERS than me. And watching back his stream, he just had so much. I think he had about 30%, whereas I have literally nothing at this point, and there's nothing I could do. It's on auto ERS. I can't control it or anything at all, whereas my teammate, I think, has actually already finished the race. We're coming through here now, and you can see just the lines he's taken. So I decided to repay the favour going through here, and now let's see if I can get a good run on him. Do the switch back again, but we actually go on the grass, almost losing the car here. He goes in a little bit deep, and I thought at this point it was probably game over. And going through here, you can see the car just having zero grip at this point. But he actually goes in super deep, trying to get a nice sweeping line, coming off this last corner, coming towards the line. And usually with max ERS, you'd be able to potentially overtake, but we just have nothing left at all. And we still come P7. We still beat Ben, despite spinning 3 times and waiting as well. And that means Lando Norris has actually beaten me. I think I would have beaten him if I hadn't waited up or anything at all, even if those penalties I had. But yeah, this was a fun race.
Ben had more penalties than me.
As you can tell there.
How did you guys get
Yeah, it was a really, really fun race. I was going into this very relaxed, but for Bahrain, I can assure you, I will be taking it a little bit more seriously. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much to everyone to be involved, especially Veloce Esports for organising this. It was a huge, huge success. Thank you so much for my stream. I will be streaming this on Sunday as well, so stay tuned for that. And I'll catch you soon. Peace.